Всем привет, всем здравствуйте. Как меня видно, слышно? Сейчас я проверю, видно ли меня и слышно здесь. Да, видно и слышно. Замечательно. Всем привет. Привет, привет. Давайте еще одну минуту подождем и начнем. Так. Дайте мне знать, как меня слышно, пожалуйста. Can you hear and see me properly? Okay. Thank you, guys. Hi, everyone. Very nice to see you again here. So this is our Monday mindset. This is just the way we call it now. Maybe we will change it sometime soon, but this is just how I felt last week to call it, to give it a new name. So I call it Speak With Me because here we're gonna talk all about mindset around speaking Russian. We don't talk about basics here. We are not gonna be focusing on reading, grammar, pronunciation all the time. Our main goal is to focus on our mindset, what's behind the scenes of our speaking, what holds us back, what are the fears that we face every single day when we want to speak but we can't for some reason. So if you remember on video 1 and 2, we were talking about how important it is to set your goal and to stick with it, to review and to move on. And in the second video, we were talking about maybe the biggest takeaway there was that you are never ready. If you ask yourself this question, am I ready to speak Russian? The answer is no. So you just have to go for it. So my question today is, why do you think when people who learn Russian, when they start speaking with natives, why do they sound that unnatural? Why do you think natives don't feel comfortable continuing the conversation? So when it comes to speaking, and now we're not talking about the basic vocabulary like «Привет», «Как дела?». We are talking about the situation when you can hold a conversation in Russian. So let's say you are like intermediate level or something like that. Why do you think you sound that unnatural to natives? Maybe it's because you learn to speak another way, not the way natives do. How do we learn to speak another language? How do we usually do that? It's classic, right? We have to learn the alphabet, we have to learn how to read, we have to learn maybe how to comprehend the conversation. But this is the last thing that we are focusing on, speaking. And I invite you today to be open and to really understand that this is not the last thing to do. This is the first thing to do. You don't have to know the alphabet to speak the language. Just imagine a child. When we learn how to speak a language, we start with just one word, right? It's mama or papa, but we don't know the letters. We cannot explain why we use this word or another, why we use it in this form or another form. The only way we learn and do it straight away, we just copy natives. We just copy what we hear from others. So this is, for me, from my humble perspective, the only healthy way to learn to speak the language. You have to listen and speak conversational language. Imagine the situation. You keep drilling the books. You are trying to learn grammar. You are trying to listen, but you never repeat. You never say anything out loud. Or if you do that, you don't do that constantly. It's not going to work. And just tell me, do these methods work for you? If they do, that's perfect. Just keep learning the way you have been doing this all the time. But if they don't, you just have to change something. What can you change? You can change your approach. If you want to speak Russian the way natives do, you have to do it the way natives do. Another question. So I know that some of you take lessons and you have tutors and teachers offline or online. That's great. That's amazing. But sometimes I get your questions and you ask me like, what's the best way to work with a teacher? How to choose the best teacher? This is not the easy thing to do, to find the perfect person to be able to speak great Russian with, but it's not impossible. And when you find a person, you have to be, again, very clear with your goal. For example, you are talking with a tutor or with a teacher. Your question is, so my goal is to be able to hold a conversation in Russian on this certain level. You have to give an example. And I want to be able to do that in this period of time, say a month, for example. And I have 3 times a week, just 1 hour. Can we do that? If you are clear with your goals from day one, with your teacher, with your tutor, it's very easy to just take a step back, to review what you've done, and then to decide if you keep going this way or you have to change something. If you don't set a goal, how are you going to understand if you have any progress at all? So I totally get that it's not easy thing to do to find the right person, but you will find that person if you keep looking. This is the only way to find that person. If you don't look, you will not find her or him. So another thing, if you can find a person or as many people as you can, it's not a teacher, it's not a tutor, just real people who speak Russian, go find them and try to keep speaking as much as you can. But one thing, what are you interested in to be talking with them? Is it colors in Russian? Is it fruits? Is it numbers or something else? Or maybe it's something deeper, something you would like to speak with a person in your language. So if this is your friend and you are speaking in your native language, what conversation are you going to have? Ask yourself this question. This is the answer to what vocabulary you want to grow in Russian. So last week, Someone asked me a question like, I know 6,000 words in Russian, but I can't speak. Can you help me? This is the thing. If you are not interested in this topic that you are able to speak about, you will not be able to do that, because this is not a natural way for us as humans. We want and we can speak smoothly and easily when it's something we are really interested in. Do you remember those situations when you are talking with someone in your language and you feel like, no, I'm not following anymore? Why? Maybe you are tired, but most likely you're just not interested. So sometimes I get questions from you like, how to help myself to be an adult in a Russian conversation. So I feel myself like a child and I want to just add something meaningful to a conversation between natives, but I can't because I just don't have that vocabulary. Of course you don't if you haven't been growing that vocabulary. So let me tell you this. The word philanthropia, for example, is not harder to pronounce than the word здравствуйте. And of course, this is a must to know how to pronounce здравствуйте in Russian, but you can start learning Russian with Russian. You can start learning Russian with the word philanthropia. That's okay. And there are so many international words in any language that sound exactly, almost, but sometimes they are like super similar in different languages. You can understand them easily, and you can see like you already know like maybe 100 of words in Russian, but you haven't actually learned anything new. The words like президент, soup, TV, so it's TV, right? So many words. I don't have a list of these words here in front of me, so this is just what I've come up with. But there are so many words, and this is what you can start doing if you are just at the beginning level. If you are if you are intermediate in Russian already or advanced, okay, so you probably have started building that vocabulary that you can use for a meaningful conversation. But if you haven't, just go for it. So don't try to just read, don't try to just listen or watch. You have to be active. This passive way of learning will not give you fluency. By the way, what fluency is actually? Fluency is a collection of habits, including grammar, including pronunciation, including the melody of the language. But this fluency that you want, you will not get it the way you've been learning the language so far if you are not there yet. So if this is just the passive way you're learning, if it's just reading, just listening, just trying to fight inside, like, how am I feeling? What am I going to do when I say a word? What if it's wrong? This is the passive way. You have to be active. You have to use this beautiful tool, the beautiful instrument of language actively. Only this way you will get satisfaction from it. So what else I wanted to touch today? Yes, very important. When you find a tutor or a teacher, and as I said, you have to be very clear with your goals, with your approach, and how you want to have your classes. Be patient. If this time you don't feel like this is the right person for particularly this goal, that's okay. But just be honest with the person. Don't say that, okay, I just want to have a one-off class, one-off conversation with you. How much is it? Let me pay you. And then you just disappear. For those people, this is not maybe a good way of spending their time and energy, because for a good teacher, for a good tutor, they want you to succeed. This is not about them, this is about you. So just be honest from the beginning. I'm looking for the right person for me, for this particular goal, to have conversations on regular basis. Can we do that? Please, can we have this conversation with you so we can talk and see if we a good match for this work? That's it. Very easy, right? So this is the way how we do it in real life. We don't see each other as a teacher and a student. This is not how we want it in real life. When I meet you for a cup of coffee somewhere in real life, we're not going to talk about pronunciation. We're not going to talk about grammar rules. Probably you are going to ask me a great question, and I would love to hear your question. So if you want to speak Russian as natives do, you have to do it the way natives do. Don't see a teacher in every Russian speaker. This is not your approach anymore, if it has been like that. And it's very important to be very consistent with your learning. This is not something you can just start doing and then you don't see the results and you drop it and you go. If you learn the language, if you speak it actively, if it's possible every single day, that's amazing. But if it's just 3 times a week, that's perfect too. If you do it actively, you don't need motivation. You will just forget this word, because you are going to get just the best out of these real conversations. Okay, so let me see if you have any questions today. It's been more than 15 minutes again, but I actually, oh yes, thank you so much for your questions. Yeah, I promised you to be live just for 15 minutes today, but it's again a bit longer. So the first question, yes, I agree 100% about learning to speak first. Learn to listen and speak before reading. This is why I like Pimsleur audio program. Accent will be better too. Yes, I would love to talk about accents with you. This is just one of my favorite topics ever in any language, so we will definitely do it. Делаем ли мы ударение на неправильный слог? So Chris, I didn't get this question from you. So probably you mean like, is it a problem that we stress a wrong syllable? This is not a problem. I'm telling you, a native speaker will understand what you are talking about. All this stuff, pronunciation and everything, if that person is interested in talking with you, that's it. You don't need anything else. So true, Megan says. Thank you so much, Megan. Not easy find perfect teacher, I know. And some people tell me like, yes, of course, Elena, it's very easy for you to say, but it's the hardest thing to do. I get it, guys. But this is like with everything else. If you are looking for a great photographer or a lawyer or a doctor, this is how you do it. You just keep looking. But just ask yourself, do you really want to find that person? Because maybe there is something holding you back. That's why you really procrastinate. Крис says, у меня назначена встреча в 7:30 вечера. Я буду смотреть снова позже. Спасибо. Крис, спасибо большое. Я очень всегда рада вас видеть. Спасибо. We only use 1,200 words in a normal day. So if you know 6,000 words, you just need to practice conversations with native speakers. Exactly. This is exactly right. So Elena, listening and singing songs alone a few times a day would help. Oh my gosh. So this is Vinicius. I hope I pronounced the name right. This is one of my favorite topic, singing. Singing helps so much. You just can't imagine. You can sing alone from the very beginning if you don't know a word, you don't understand a word in that song. Just try to copy out loud just the way you can. Then it will follow. You will then pick one word, maybe then another. Then you will get curious. Then you will go and find lyrics for that song. And then you go and maybe find translation if you want. But just don't rush, just enjoy it. And yes, singing helps. I cannot say that it helps with your conversational skills, but it helps you to just to enjoy, to pronounce it this beautiful way that can be done only in singing. Another question. Italki has a lot of great teachers, Megan says. I use Elizabeth Martin and she's wonderful. I can understand so much more. This talk was wonderful and motivating. Megan, thank you so much, and thank you for your feedback about a great teacher. So if you want, you can just check this beautiful lady out. But please, just keep in mind that you have to start with your goal. Then it will be clear for everyone else, okay? For you and for your teacher or a tutor. So next Monday, what we will do, I would love to talk with you about mistakes. I believe that there is only one healthy way to get corrected by someone else who wants to share their language skills with you. It doesn't matter if it's just a real person or if it's a teacher or a tutor. There is only one healthy way, and I would love to share it with you next week on Monday. Thank you so much for being with me today, and please head on to Instagram if you haven't already. I'm going to do more live videos there, and I can't wait to see you there as well. Thank you so much. Спасибо. Всем отличного дня, отличной недели. Неделя может быть только прекрасной после того, как мы с вами поговорили в понедельник. Спасибо и до скорой связи. Пока.